Japan has monkeys, and China has pandas. That begs the question, what did Korea get? Nothing. Korea got nothing. We really lost out. However, Korea used to have tigers. There are a lot of paintings from Korean history 300 years ago that depict Siberian tigers. Like this one, and Koreans gave them some very interesting facial features. And this traditional painting too, where the Siberian tiger is wearing a kot and smoking a pipe. So that begs the question, what happened to Siberian tigers? In short oversimplification, the Japanese killed them all, and drove their natural living and hunting grounds into Russia. Again, a super oversimplification. However, recently a Siberian tiger was spotted in the wild on the Chinese-North Korean border. So again, if Japan has monkeys and China has pandas, what did Korea get? Unfortunately, wild boars. And these things are not to be played with. Some of these wild boars in Korea can reach 200 kilos. It's almost 450 pounds. And they really don't have any natural predators in Korea anymore, now that the tigers are gone. One of these boars recently found its way into a train station and bit a man on the arm. These wild...
They got boars in Texas and stuff too, and like, apparently they're no different from the pigs that people eat. Now, I don't eat because I'll praise to Allah, but once they go feral, like their body changes once they're not domesticated or whatever, and then they become boars, which is pretty crazy.
Boars are such a problem that the province of Gangwon-do has special gun laws. You can, although albeit with a bunch of regulations, own a firearm in Gangwon province because of the dangerousness of these wild boars. The Asiatic black bear also has been pretty much extinct in southern Korea. There's been a few sightings on the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea and a few sightings in Gangwon province where the wild boars are, but again, pretty much extinct. So yeah, we got feral hogs. But Japan has monkeys, and...
Interesting.
I feel like American media has completely flipped the narrative and the perception around Asian men. Maybe it's occurring all over the world, I'm not sure, but I just feel like there used to be this very negative and unfortunately racist undertones and connotations and views of Asian men and dating.
I don't really have anything to say, just pausing it. Well, I guess it's not like a music video where you gotta, I don't know.
Asian men, but now I feel like it's completely flipped and we're seeing a very romanticized, sexualized view of Asian men in American media. Now, I wonder if that has something to do with the rise in K-pop, the rise in K-beauty. Maybe
shout out BTS. That's all BTS.
Point and that representation of Asian men in media has already existed, but I feel like there's just this big influx of it, at least as an American, a white American in America, in the
Caucasian American. There's no such thing as white.
United States. No, I feel like it's changing. I also feel like you're not gonna just be able to lock down an attractive Asian man. Times are changing, and I love to see a white man fall on his knees. Sorry, that got a little weird.
That got weird as well. Maybe she had a bad relationship with her. I don't know. Who knows?
Media has completely flipped the narrative.
All right. Yeah, it's all because of BTS. They changed that. They did everything. It's like pre and post BTS world for Asian men. And if you're an attractive Asian man, like she was saying, boom. Otherwise, well, if you're attractive and if you're attractive or you got money, Asian man, you're probably living better than before, but otherwise you're not. But it's still a lot of racism. Like BTS did a lot, but it's still a lot of racism. All right, let's
The physical altercation caught on camera between two local AAU or amateur athletic union teams ended with this punch to the head.
Not one single parent stood up to go protect my son. I ran across the gym to go, get him.
But Lenny says the attack against her son Evan and his team, the South Bay Snipers, happened well before the punch.
They did use the C word.
2/3 of the team are Asian.
They claim the team seen in black jerseys, the San Francisco Generals, repeatedly used racial slurs on the court. Then this happened.
Where my son essentially go for the loose ball, and as both of them are going up, the kid on the ground pushed him.
That's when another player jumps in, pushes Evan to the ground, then seconds later punches Evan in the head. But what angers his parents even more is what they claim
really
didn't happen next.
The worst part is no one apologized.
How is a technical foul not called when he's obviously, punching him in the face?
The parents say not only didn't anyone jump in or reprimand the players, they claim the director of the tournament, Grassroots 365, initially refused to watch video of the incident.
They said, we saw what happened. And I was pressing them because I'm like, if you saw what happened, you should not let that go.
Evan's parents say the punch left him with a concussion and left them angry. No one condemned the alleged racial and physical attacks.
We pay a lot of money. A lot of families pay a lot of money for this AAU. It just makes, parents not want to pay all this money to put their kids in danger if they're not going to be protected and be safe.
The physical altercation caught on camera between two local AA.
Yo, man, San Francisco Bay Area is super racist to Asians. There's a lot of Asians there. Yeah. I don't know, what else can you say about it? Because hate's stronger than Gorilla Glue. That's from a song I made. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. It's whack. The Bay Area is crazy because you got it's such a diverse area and you got different people interacting. But in general, dude, Asians are just hated. That's what it is. I don't know what you want me to say about it on this YouTube video. I don't know how you can talk your way out of that situation, but Asians are just hated in the United States.
Today is Korean American Day, commemorating the arrival of the first Korean immigrants to the United States, specifically to occupied Hawaii in 1903. For those of us descended from these Korean immigrants, this day isn't just celebratory. It's a reflection on why our ancestors came, what forced them to leave Korea, and what they endured once they arrived. The first group of 102 Korean immigrants arrived at Honolulu Harbor in 1903.
We would have never had to leave our country if it wasn't for the United States that committed genocide and carpet bombed the peninsula. There's a lot to be said about it. I don't really want to get into it in this video.
And over the next 2.5 years, about 7,400 Koreans came to Hawaii, mostly recruited as laborers for the sugar plantations. They were fleeing poverty, political instability, and the growing pressure of Japanese imperial expansion, supported by Western powers, including the United States.
Okay, I'm glad she included that.
Was gradually dismantled. At this time, Hawaii was no longer an independent nation. In 1893, a small group of white American businessmen, backed by the U.S. minister and U.S. Marines, overthrew the Hawaiian Kingdom and imprisoned Queen Liliuokalani in Iolani Palace. A provisional government was installed, and Hawaii...
Whatever.
I'll never forget.
Maybe I should finish.
He was later annexed to the United States in 1898 without the consent of Native Hawaiians. U.S. military power, white-controlled plantations, and later tourism transformed Hawaii's economy. Native Hawaiians were displaced from their land and livelihoods, and plantation owners imported laborers from China, Japan, the Philippines, and Korea to sustain the sugar industry. Korean laborers were promised opportunity, but encountered exhausting labor, racial hierarchies, and very little legal protection. Korean immigrants arrived during a time of profound loss.
It's not much different today. Well, it's much different because Korea's in a different state, but yeah.
In 1905, Korea was forced into Japanese protectorate status, meaning Japan controlled Korea's foreign affairs, military, and diplomacy. By 1910, Japan had fully annexed Korea as a colony. Koreans in Hawaii suddenly had no sovereign nation to protect them. The United States treated them as Japanese subjects, even as Korean communities abroad actively resisted Japanese colonial rule. My second great-grandparents immigrated from Korea to Hawaii during this early period, long before the Korean War and long before the peninsula was divided. My great-great-grandfather, Kim Jong-un, was born on January 15, 1881, in Anmyeonop, Gangwon-do, in what is now North Korea, a region that would be later divided by war, but at the time was simply part of a unified Korean homeland. He lived through the collapse of the Korean Empire, the rise of Japanese occupation, and the trauma of displacement. He immigrated to Oahu in 1904, where he worked as a stonemason and, according to family memory, also contributed labor to the early Honolulu railway system, infrastructure that moved sugar and goods across the island during the plantation era. Like many Korean immigrants, his skilled and physical labor helped build industrial Hawaii. He passed away on June 8, 1955, at 74 years old. My great-great-grandmother, Su Pa-yu, was born on April 16, 1898, in Daegu, South Gyeongsang Province. At 18 years old, during the Korean
not like
picture
a native
bride
Korean
era,
speaker
she
because of
traveled to Hawaii
pronunciations,
and married my great-great-grandfather, Kim Jong-un, in Honolulu on March 15, 1916. Like many picture brides, she crossed the Pacific to marry a husband she had not yet met in person, leaving behind a homeland already under Japanese rule. Together, they raised 4 children, including my great-grandfather, Ralph Kwee-nam Kim. She passed away on January 31, 1958, at 59 years old. Another great-great-grandfather, Hong Yong-soo, was born on March 21, 1877, in Yeonan-up, Hwanghae Province, also in North Korea. In Hawaii, he worked as a mattress maker and eventually retired from the trade. He passed away on January 8, 1945, at 69 years old. He married my great-great-grandmother, Anna Lee, who immigrated from Seoul in 1903 at 16 years old, among the earliest wave of Korean arrivals to Hawaii. They raised 12 children, including my great-grandmother, Evelyn Hong, who married into the Kim family line. She passed away on April 22, 1944, at 57 years old. My family story is one of many. Korean immigrants not only survived, but built communities, churches, mutual aid societies, and political organizations. They fundraised for Korean independence, resisted Japanese colonialism from afar, and laid the foundations of the Korean diaspora in Hawaii that continues into the present. For our families, Korean American Day is not simply a heritage day, it is a remembrance of forced migration, of labor, of resilience, and of the ancestors who crossed an ocean and reshaped our lives before we were ever born. Today is Korean American.
What is this day remembering? The descendants of the genocide victims by the United States are being celebrated. What is the point of that? I don't care when the colonizer tells me to celebrate this day for whatever. Like, when the United States was the whole reason why the war even happened. Yeah, I don't know what to say more on that topic, but let's keep it moving.
This Korean guy won gold in diving when pools wouldn't let Asians in. Sammy Lee was born in Fresno in 1920 to Korean-American immigrants who ran a Chinese restaurant. When Sammy was 12, the Olympics came to California. Inspired by the banners and souvenirs around town, he began dreaming of Olympic glory. A natural athlete, the best somersaulter in his neighborhood, he took up diving. His family moved to Highland Park in LA, but the local pool would only...
Highland Park, that's like a little hipster part of town now. Billie Eilish's mom was like a real estate developer there. She had a hand in making that hood, gentrifying that hood or whatever.
Admit coloreds on Wednesdays, right before it was drained. Determined to improve, Sammy began practicing in his backyard. He found a coach who dug a hole and filled it with sand. Coming home from school, Sammy would stand at the top and dive in over and over again. Training in sand strengthened his legs, helping him pull off tough athletic dives. He became a student athlete at Occidental and finally joined the diving team in the pool. In '42, Sammy was the first person of color to win the U.S. National Championships. 6 years later, at the '48 London Olympics, he took gold in the...
Oops.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Kiki. I'm gonna be
10 meter. He became the second Asian American to win Olympic gold, just 2 days after his friend Vicky Manalo in women's diving. Lee won gold again in '52. He became a doctor and served in the army during the Korean War. When he came home from war,
He served for the United States in the Korean War. Yo, what? So he had a hand in genociding his own people. Sammy Lee, good for you. You were good at diving, but I don't think you're really a hero to our people, man. I'm not gonna watch the rest of this. 'Cause yeah.
being given magic by the Homa Kingdom. This is Korea before they got...
If you haven't watched the original Creator Stitch, go back, watch it, and then come back here. This creator did a really great job.
Hold on. How do I find it?
So here's the thing about the anti-Korean sentiments and ranking of kings is that when you don't have the context...
Alright, hold on.
So here's the thing about the anti-Korean sentiments and ranking of kings is that when you don't have the context, you would never know, right? It would never be obvious. You would never pick up on it. It would just be this cute show about this kid with a lot of determination and characters you love. As soon as you know the context, it becomes unwatchable. Learning this ruined the show for me. I'm going to go into the story of how I found out, but if you want to skip ahead to just see, go ahead. I'll put like a timestamp right here for where I actually explain it. So I was in a chat with a few people, one of whom is Korean, and we were talking about, I was like, what is like a red flag anime to y'all? What is a red flag anime to y'all? And she said, this said ranking of kings. And I was like,
oh, so this is an anime. Because I'm like, I don't even know what ranking... Okay, so there's a Japanese anime that's anti-Korean, man. Japan has always been anti-Korean for like ever. And like nobody acknowledges it except for other Koreans. But shout out to bro. I'm following him.
Kings, the cute show about the little boy who can't speak. What's wrong with that? And she was really mad about it. And I was like, I don't understand. And so she was like, just look this up. Look at this. So it all has to do with the backstory of Miranjo and her mother and the Homa Kingdom and the Yakuza Kingdom. And it's like the story of it is that the Homa Kingdom and Miranjo...
I don't watch anime, so I have no...
His mother, who's incredibly sweet, goes into the Yakuza Kingdom and they teach them magic and they help them improve their life. And they get betrayed because the Yakuza people are so distrusting and spiteful. All right, Jerry, pull up the pictures. This is the Yakuza Kingdom before being given magic by the Homa Kingdom. This is Korea before they got colonized by Japan. This is the Yakuza Kingdom after Homa gives them a better life through magic and gives them everything they could ever want. This is Korea following colonialization by Japan. So when you know that, it becomes obvious that the thing being said here about Korean people and how they didn't like appreciate it, it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah,
it makes it hard to watch. It would be like if you were watching the Spider.
There's so many anti-Korean things, like even in Super Mario Bros. And stuff, like
first movie. Crazy. And then just somewhere in there, it threw in a line about how it was a good thing that slavery happened. It's like hard. It's like I can't even watch the rest of it now. You know what I mean? So here's the thing about the
Wow. Shout out to bro for teaching. Yeah, that's crazy. Like I don't even know what to say. It's been going on. Their education system is horrible, so they don't even like teach their people about it. Yeah, man, I don't even know what to say about it. Oh my god, this is... Well, okay, hold on. Let's go back to what the other girl was gonna say.
Anti-Korean sentiment shown in Ranking of Kings. Now I'm here to specifically talk about anti-Korean sentiment in Japanese media. So this is nothing new. There is a lot of anti-Korean sentiment in anime and manga in general. I hate to break it to a lot of you anime and manga fans, but a lot of your manga creators are Japanese nationalists who hate Koreans. A lot of times Japanese studios will avoid putting any portrayals of Koreans on anime, so I'm really surprised that Ranking of Kings did it. But then again, there are a lot of animes that have put some questionable things in their animes. Most animation studios just try to avoid it because there's a lot of political tension between Japan and Korea. But in a lot of animes, Koreans are portrayed as ignorant, stupid, and we're often demonized. Now, there are several animes that either are not shown in Korea or they have a lot of animation studios had to go back and re-edit. One of them is Demon Slayer, and it's about his earrings.
I don't know any of these shows, but
I'm gonna get into that there. I did a video on it, and you can go scroll on my page. It's all the way down there. Now, there was a episode of JJK where Mei Mei's attack is called kamikaze, and that stirred up a lot of controversy. Now, the reason why a lot of Koreans were upset about it is because in World War II, a lot of Koreans were forced to also join kamikaze and sacrifice.
They like made them smoke meth or something and then put them in planes to do those kamikaze missions
themselves. And before a lot of you say that Koreans weren't a part of the whole Japanese in World War II, I need you to do your research. Now, in AOT specifically, there is a character where the author admitted the character is based off of a World War II general who did atrocious things, not only in Korea, but in Asia in general. And a lot of Asian countries were in uproar over that. I need a lot of you anime and manga fans to stop being delusional and stop thinking that Japan is this, like, great country, because they're not. I still haven't apologized for any of them.
Yeah, they killed a lot of people, like Koreans, Chinese. What they did in China was crazy. Like Philippines, Vietnam, everywhere. Japan still hasn't spoken for any of the crimes. All right.
I'd like to talk to you today about Mr. Adam Crapser, a Korean-American adoptee who was deported a decade ago from the U.S. to a country he had never known since the age of 3. His Korean name is Shin Seong Hyeok. His South Korean mother, Kwon Pil-ju, at the time had been disabled and destitute, and
I didn't expect to do so many Korean, but I realized my For You page is all Korean stuff because that's what I look at. So I guess that's what y'all gonna look at.
After her abusive husband left her and her children, she decided to give them away for adoption out of desperation. He was adopted with his sister.
Koreans have like the highest number of adoptees. Like, that's pretty crazy.
To American parents in 1979 through Holt. He was abused by his first family, who abandoned the siblings 7 years later. Then he was separated from his sister by the foster care system and was adopted by Thomas and Dolly Crapser, who would, and I quote, slam their children's heads against walls, strike them with kitchen utensils, and burn them with heated objects. Thomas Crapser once broke Mr. Shin's nose when he couldn't find his adoptive father's car keys. The Crapsers would later be convicted on charges of abuse. Mr. Shin was kicked out of the Crapser household after an argument. He pleaded guilty to burglary after he broke into the home of the Crapsers to retrieve a Korean language Bible and a stuffed dog that came with him from a Korean orphanage. That would be the first of his criminal record, which later would include possession of a firearm and assault. But he turned it all around. He later had a family with 2 children, and he started businesses. The problem was his legal status. He discovered that his adoptive parents had never undergone the process to give him citizenship, nor extended his permanent residency. So when he applied for a green card in 2015, it triggered a background check, and he was deported in 2016. Under the Obama administration, might I add. He was forcibly removed from his
Obama was a war criminal.
then wife, his 2 children, and friends in America. He struggled deeply in South Korea where he couldn't speak the language, he couldn't fit in with the culture at all. He then filed a lawsuit in 2019 seeking around $150,000 in damages from the South Korean government and Holt, accusing them of manipulating his paperwork, employing poor background checks that failed to weed out his abusive adopters, and not following up on whether he obtained U.S. citizenship. As you'd expect, the South Korean government and Holt denied any legal wrongdoing. I would just like to add, everything that Mr. Shin accused the South Korean government and Holt of is 200% correct. The way adoption was done back then, especially foreign adoptions, it was essentially for-profit human trafficking. I've talked at lengths about this before. The main motivation and driver of these adoptions was money. So much that they hired social workers to convince vulnerable parents to give up their children or falsify the documents of missing children who had families looking for them. I once got lost in a theme park as a kid, and my dad later told me he was frantic because he had heard so many horror stories from people around him of how parents would lose their children who would look for them for years, even decades, only to find that they were shipped off abroad. Fortunately, I was found by my dad that day, but I could have been one of these adoptees. Anyone could have been one of these adoptees. Because like I said, the adoption agencies and the government were just marking children with parents as orphans so that they could put more products in the pipeline. This is also why they didn't care what happened to the children once they were shipped off. Once they got their money, it was done for them. In 2023, South Korean court, in a very South Korean fashion, dismissed charges against the South Korean government from Mr. Shin while ordering Holt to pay Mr. Shin around 100 million won in damages. Holt appealed, and the decision was overturned in 2025. Then after that, Holt demanded 50 million won in compensation for legal expenses from Mr. Shin. Mr. Shin, with dedicated efforts by his team, including lawyer Mina Kim, bless her heart, was able to block this. But now Holt is going after him for 21 million won. In a recent interview with KBS, he pointed out that Holt is doing this in order to put Mr. Shin in further financial difficulty and to send a message to all the other adoptees filing lawsuits or are planning to do so. And that's exactly what Holt is doing. They want to shut their victims up. May I remind you that Holt has a revenue-generating real estate portfolio worth hundreds of millions of dollars in Korea, and they need to protect these ill-gotten gains from human trafficking. This is a self-proclaimed faith-based organization, which is not very surprising. Anyways, fuck Holt. I hope they get absolutely destroyed with their assets returned to the victims they wronged. As for the South Korean government, a country that does not reconcile with its past does not have a future, nor does it deserve one. Especially for a country that spasms all over the place about solving its birth rate crisis. But let me end this on my opinion on Mr. Shin, or Adam. I think he's a hero. Against all odds, against all the crimes and wrongdoings that have been committed against him by individuals, institutions, governments, he turned his life around. Then when he thought he could finally have some peace and happiness, he got deported to Korea, which was yet another massive round of trauma that he had to endure. And then he fights the Korean government and Holt in a lawsuit, setting the stage for justice for not just him, but all adoptees. Many who were likely inspired by his victory in 2023 and the precedent that it set to pursue their own justice. And Mr. Shin still continues to fight. This is someone with a heroic heart. My best, sincerest wishes to him. I'm rooting for him, as well as all adoptees, and you should too. I'd like to talk to you too.
Shout out to Mr. Shin. That's very sad and tragic. I hate child abuse situations because, yeah, man, that's something that happens in the world. Let's move on.
The Clipse's favorite soul food is Chinese. Last Sunday, the best duo ever took home their first Grammy for Chains and Whips with Kendrick Lamar. Last fall, on the press run for their first new album in 16 years, Pusha and Mal dropped an interesting fact.
Go find ghetto Yock. Yock is spaghetti, boiled egg, chicken wings, soy sauce, ketchup. I've heard stories of him being in like very crazy neighborhoods buying Yock. I don't do all of that.
In the early 1900s, black neighborhoods sprang up around Virginia's Tidewater region, drawn by new government jobs in the area. Chinese workers followed, opening laundry shops and restaurants to serve the growing black community. Together, the two created a unique regional dish, Yock, short for Yokgomin, Chinese for one order of noodles. It's a simple takeout dish, lo mein noodles soaked in ketchup and soy sauce, topped with meat, raw onions, and cayenne pepper, served messy in a takeout container. Yock became a regional icon, cooked in backyards, churches, and carryouts. Multiple Chinese noodle factories, Yock factories, sprang up. At the Norfolk Noodle Factory, MIT dropout Park F. Wong patented machines to cut and deep fry Yock noodles. That same factory is still operating now. Fiber Foods proudly boasts of its legacy of Yocks sprang up. At the Norfolk Noodle Factory, MIT dropout Park F. Wong patented machines to cut and deep fry Yock noodles. That same factory is
12 on the floor. Many stuffs. Let me look it up on my laptop. Oh, that's oh. No, it's still there. That's crazy. Oh crap! Oh crap! Dang it! I messed up the screen record. All right, ready, set, go.
Is still operating now. Fiber Foods proudly boasts of its legacy of yakameen since 1960s. So today, from Mama Chan's Chinese takeout to Andrika Gibson, the Yock queen of the 757, Virginians, including Malice and Pusha T, eat boxes of fresh Yock each day. It's a living tribute to the time black families and Chinese cooks came together to make something that would feed their community.
I'm from this area and I never knew about Yock.
The Clipse's favorite soul food is China.
But that's pretty cool. I've met them. I met Malice. I've been to his house and I helped him do his video. He's got like a skate ramp in his garage. Shout out to Mr. Thornton.
Strange things we found in the Vietnamese grocery store. Yogurt water. Ew.
And this is why some people say they don't want us in places like Hmart, because I don't even know why they went in there. They clearly have no business going in there, but like going into a place that doesn't have American food and then making fun of the fact that they don't have American food is actually mind-blowing. And even if we put all of that aside, like, I don't get the point of her making that video. Like, it's actually disgusting.
Strange things we found in the
Yeah, who is this? Stouffer Cedar World. Please do better.
Strange things we found in the Vietnamese grocery store. Yogurt water.
Did they apologize?
Strange things we found in
So here are 5 weird things I found.
Một TikToker bên Mỹ sang Việt Nam.
I don't think these people even apologize.
things we found in the Vietnamese grocery.
Because there's oh wait. Oh, they're like a small account. Stouffer's, please be more self-aware.
Grocery store.